โอเคไม่ใช่
ครับ Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody in Washington, in Vancouver, in Thailand. Welcome to the program of Dhamma for Life from the page of Wat Dhama in Washington and also Wat Putta Panya Nantaram, Vancouver, Canada, which are operated by Phra Ajahn Twachai, who is also acting as the abbot of Wat Putta Panya Nantaram in Vancouver, and a residential monk of Wat Dhama in Washington. So today what I have brought for you is the topic, the Dhamma topic that is as the fundamental distortion that many people has been misunderstanding and it has been a really ground problem for life because of we have the at least two fundamental distortion or our will or thought are being twisted from the reality. In Buddhism, accordingly to the Tripitaka, in the commentary mentioned about the viparasa. Viparasa means the distortion or the distortion of the perception. So it has been distorted from the truth, the reality of everything, and that is called sanya viparasa, or the distortion of the perception. So let's scan into the fundamental distortion that normally the human being in the samsara has. There are the two levels of the distortion that always there in the mind of the human being. The study of the animal is very rare. I can say that nobody is doing some experimental in the animal being. It's only exam or doing the experiment in the human being only. There are two levels. The first one is called the distortion of the perception itself. For example, you so scared when you seeing the lobe as a snake, and so your thought, your will, and has been distorted from the truth, and it became your belief whenever you see sometimes you see the lobe, and then you always be scared that it's going to become a snake. That is the distortion of the perception. The second level is the distortion of the thought. and this is happen. It's very common, the mad person, the mad people. Sometimes they eat the grass as the food. Yes, it's for the food, but it's not the food for the human being. It is the food for the animals. For example, the cow, the buffalo. So that is very fundamental perception. So on this foundation of the false will, on this foundation of the distortion is leading to what is called the sanya vipalasa, or the perception, or the distortion of the perception, which is there's four different kinds of the distortion of the perception that has been laid and that has been laid down for the in the mind of the people. From actually, it's the in the commentary mentioned that it has been a long journey extended from life to life, that is called the Sanya Vipalasa, and it has been really deeply accumulated in the mind of the person. The first one is called in Pali we call it Supasanya. It's a wrong perception or the distortion of the perception um, that regards the unattractive as attractive. This is called supasanya. So if we investigate deep, deeply, we will find that everything is actually unattractive. It's only forms, or is everything is only the body and the mind. There's nothing that attractive. The attractiveness or the beauty or the beautiful of all the material or the forms are actually accordingly to the way that you look. It's about the attitude of the person who come into contact with the material or with the formation of all things. For example, when you go to shop, when you do shopping, I may like the red color. My wife or you may not like the red color when you go to shop for the clothes, for example, jacket. And that's why the factory, this is a benefit. Actually, it's benefit. It's a conditioned benefit for the world that, for example, the factory or the manufacturer, they produce different colors of all the goods, the jacket, the shirt, the shoes, the umbrella, the car. Many people go for the white car, red car. Different people having a same different attitude towards the material that they're going to buy, towards the good they're going to buy. but actually every people get the same car, same engine, but different color. Because my beautiful are different from you. You're beautiful. So the people having a different attitude toward the colors. You may like a white color, but I like a black color, for example. But actually, they are all just the forms, just the color, for example. And this how we uh, this is how we dissatisfy with something that uh, people like, but we dislike. And when we have to come in contact, or or sometimes we have no choice. It's about the choices that we can go for, the options. But in the Abhidhamma, actually we are no choice. We have to consume the goods. We or either you like or don't like the white color. I like black color. You may like a white color, but we all having or sharing what is called forms, the rupa or the material. So if we looking into this way, it's the right view that we all sharing, or that's all we all having the same material, or in Pali we call it rupa. We should not have any problem, because when you want to buy a car, you don't have to choose for the color, because we want the car. We don't want a color. We want a good car, not the color that I like. The good car, the fully workable car that's good, has good engine, has good performance, that having good handle, should be safe for everyone, not the color. So this is how you apply the Dhamma of the Buddha regarding the sanya vipalasa, or the perception, the false perception, into action, into your routine life. If you have the right view regarding the color or the material, our life will be much easier. We can actually save a lot. We can save a lot of money, and actually we can gain more things if we having a right perception towards the rupa or the forms. And it actually, there's nothing attractive, because when you investigate deeper and deeper, you will see that there's nothing attractive or unattractive, or actually everything is unattractive, because it's always depleted. It's always deficient. all the time because everything is just impermanent. So it's always degenerated. The beauty or the attractiveness is about the attitude, and when you understand it correctly, it's leading to the right attitude. When you have a right attitude, your life is much easier, especially towards the material that we are consuming. You know, the food, the house, the medication, you know, the shelters. We don't have to spend more money to buy the same shelter. That's what we need is only for sleeping, for residing. So this is about what is called the distortion of the perception regarding the attractiveness. The first distortion, which is called the supasanya. And this one is the Buddha mentioned in the Vipallasa Sutta, which come in the Anguttara Nikaya in Jatuka Nibata, mentioned about the four Vipallasa. The second one is about the impermanent. It's called the distorted perception of the impermanent regarding what is impermanence as the permanent. A wrong perception that everything is actually impermanent as the permanent. And that's why we work very hard for every day in order to protect what's actually impermanent. Misunderstanding that everything is permanent. And that's why the attachment is arising in the mind of the person who thinking that everything is permanent, which is actually is impermanent. It's uncertain. So everything is really unsure. Everything is on the process of changing. Imagine if you are clinging, if you are attaching to something, it's always change. You will be suffer. You will be really disappointed. What we actually supposed to do is we have to be mindfully follow the thing that's changing. We are not supposed to attach to something that's changing, something that's really uncertain. Instead of attaching, we have to be knowing mindfully things changing. And that is what is called a mindfulness instead of attachment. In Pali, we call it Nitya Sanya, the distortion of the perception that everything is impermanent as a permanent. That's why we spend a lot of energy. That's why we spend a lot of money we spend a lot of muscle in order to protect something that's aging. For example, the body, the physical body that's functioning in the direction of degeneration, or from moment to moment there is a deficiency of this muscle, this body. But we work so hard. We searching for money. We searching for the material in order to protect something that's aging, the body. And that's how we much suffer. It's not only this physical body, but everything else around us, the house, the car, any material. Not only the material, but situation, the non-material, for example, the feeling, the knowing, or even though the perception itself, the thought, are always changing, up, down, all the time. It's in the flow of changing. It's in the current of changing, which is impermanent, so impermanent. And we thought that it is permanent. This is really misunderstanding that can leading to a really serious problem of the human being. The right view has been really distorted from the truth. It has been really badly twisted, and that's why we never be happy, truly happy, because we thought that everything is me, everything is mine, everything is permanent. It has to be permanent. It doesn't matter how much energy, how much money we have to spend, but I want to see my permanent. And that's how we more suffer. This is the problem of the wrong view, the wrong perception, or sanya viparasa, regarding the impermanent nitya sanya. And then the next one is called sukha sanya. It's the wrong perception or the distortion of the perception that regarding everything is under the process of suffering, and we thought that everything is happy. Everybody should be happy. I have to be happy. We always investing a lot of energy, money in order to seeking for the happiness all the time, which is actually is misunderstanding, completely misunderstanding that our life is actually leading to the suffering, and it is being suffered. It being painful, and we thought it is not painful. From the first moment that we was born, we pain, and we continue to be pain at all time. And that's why we try to learn, from the pain, and that's how we can solve the problem. We can remove the pain by understanding these fundamentals distortion of the perception. And this is very common for everybody, for everyone. And it's universal truth. It's everywhere. If there is a life in the samsara, because there is a cause, there is an effect, there is a cause, and there is a consequence of the suffering in the samsara. So if you want to remove the painfulness, to abandon the suffering, one have to scan what's the cause, one have to investigate what is the cause of the suffering. The problem is we don't understand, and sometimes we overlook the cause of the problem. That's why we still, experiencing the suffering at all time. So this one is called the sukha sanya, which is the misunderstanding. It's really a serious distortion for the human being, especially. Once we understand this truth, once we see this truth, the very first thing to treat to this truth is to accept it. You see that when you're accepting the truth, your mind will be calmed down. Instead of fighting, you become accepting the truth, and that's how you keep on going to investigate more truth about the life. And the next one is called distortion of the selfness. it's a wrong perception that we that distorted from the truth of anatta or non-self as a selfness. We call it natta sanya. That's how we really strongly attach. That's how we strongly cling to all the material that we having. And sometimes we really strongly, seriously attach to the feeling that I always have to be happy. My loved one have to be happy. Whoever I love, they have to be happy. This is very common actually for the people that I would say that do not practice the Dhamma of the Buddha, that do not have a chance or do not have a noble friends to practice the Dhamma, do not have the sattva, do not have panya in order to drive themselves to the Dhamma of the Buddha by not practicing, by not learning. So under the investigation of life through the process of the meditation of the Kammatthana, is allow you to understand, to see all these four fundamentals of the perception, the four fundamental distortion of the perception during the meditation. You will see that the cause, there's something that blind you from the truth regarding the suffering is because of the movement. For example, when you're doing sitting meditation for say about 15 minutes, or maybe someone doing only 5 minutes, they have painful. They have a pain, maybe a knee, a hips, or neck, or leg. And then you start moving. Maybe it's not only the meditation. When you are walking, you're not feeling pain. But once you stop walking, you will have a feeling of pain. So the movement or the Ariyabhata is cover of the pain. But deeply, it doesn't eliminate the cause of the pain. The cause of the pain is still there, but it has been covered up by the action or the movement. And that's how we always thinking we are happy. But actually the cause of the pain, the cause of the problem, the cause of the suffering is still there. The cause has not been abandoned. The cause has not been eliminated, it will always generating the problem, generating the suffering as all the time, because the cause is still surviving. But we cover up with the movement, with the what is called Aryabhata. And again, the impermanent nature of all things has not been seen, because there's a continuation or the continuity of all things. In the Abhidhamma or the great Dhamma Pitaka saying that because of the santati, but actually the santati is a craving, because we continue want that, we continue want this at all the time. So wanting is the root that regards the santati or the continuity. And that's how we don't see that everything is uncertain. So it's misguiding the idea of the impermanent to the permanent nature, which is not truth. So the santati, the continuity or the continuation, is a cause that cover, is a Dhamma that cover of the impermanent nature. And again, we thought that everything is self, which is actually everything is non-self. We thought that everything is atta, which is actually everything is anatta. And the thing that cover of the truth of the anatta is the compound. We call it kana sanya. We thought that this thing is very compound. This thing, it has to be really last forever. We never see the cause and the consequence. If we investigate deeper and deeper, we will see everything is non-self. The thing that we are looking or the thing that we are seeing right now is a consequence of the consequence from the cause. So if we want to understand more clear about the anatta, we have to learn to understand the dependent origination. The paticca samuttabhata is a key knowledge for understanding anatta. understanding the Paticcasamuppada is will clear off everything in the Buddhism. Sometimes a lot of people saying that the Buddha, the Dhamma of the Buddha are really complicated to understand. But once you come and do a meditation, you will have a really clear understanding, really comprehensive understanding of the Dhamma of the Buddha regarding the Paticcasamuppada, the Four Noble Truths, and Anatta, the non-self nature of all existence. There are many suttas that mentioning about the conditioned world. That is the biggest scope of what is called atta, which is the condition. Condition means Paticcasamuppada. If there is this, there will be that. If there is no this, there will be no that. This is the constructive idea of what is called Paticcasamuppada, which is the same knowledge of, it's the same understanding knowledge of the anatta, and that's how you can eliminate or remove the distortion of the perception. The meditation will open up a new understanding, a new comprehensive understanding of the Dhamma of the Buddha. And it will clean up the discussed idea of Nicca Sanya, Atta Sanya, Supha Sanya, and Sukha Sanya. So that the three natures of all existence, which is anicca, dukkha, anatta, mean the impermanent nature, the suffering nature, and the non-self natures, is rising during the meditation. And that once you have a right understanding, that right understanding will eliminate the wrong understanding. So the very good example of how to eliminate the wrong understanding or wrong view or wrong perception, you don't have to remove away the wrong perception. It is something like when you have a glass of water, of the clear water, the colorless water. If you want to change the color of the water, You don't need to remove the clear water. You just put a drop of a color, and that's your water will be the color of the water in your glass will be changed. It's the same thing as the wrong perception, wrong view. We actually do not remove the wrong view. We replace the wrong view with the right view. That means we investigate, especially the best way to investigate, the best investigation is a meditation. When you have a right view, when you see the truth, you have a right view. And that's the right view will replace the wrong view spontaneously. This is how we remove the wrong view according to the Dhamma of the Buddha, the methodology, the Buddhist methodology, which is a method of the Buddha that he discovered. And he spent very long period to investigate 6 years to found this methodology and offer to the world in order to end the suffering. Having a right view and substitute the right view for the wrong view. And this, the perception, the wrong perception or the distortion of the perception will be cleared off through the process of the meditation. It seems to be no way, there's no any way that we can see the truth except the meditation. Because in the conditioned world we move very fast. That's why we don't see the truth. The very classic example of not seeing the truth because of the movement is the electric fan. When you turn off the fan, you will not see how many propel the fan has, because it was spinning all the time. You will see them probably that you will see, if you come into the room that the electric fan being turning, you will see that probably there is only one propel. But once you unplug it, when you turn off the fan, you will see there are 3 propels. That is very classic example of what is called seeing the truth when you don't move. That is the meditation. When you unplug yourself from the world, meditation is actually unplug practice.